First, let me introduce I'm Vivek Bardha, faculty from Tirthankar Mahavir University for the subject business environment. And today we will be going ahead for the topic on technological environment. So in the technological environment, we will be covering about following things. We'll be understanding, first we'll see what is the outcome for this subject. Then we'll introduce this, we'll see the impact of the technology on the business, the technology policy statement, the science and technology, the factors affecting technological environment, and then we'll summarize. So moving ahead, first we need to understand the outcome. What as a student you are able to get through this subject after this session. After completing this module, you as a student, you will be able to understand the concepts of the technological environment. You will be able to understand the impact of the technology on the business. You will be able to describe the various technology policy statements and its objective. Then you will understand the concept of the science and technology, understand the factors affecting the technological environment. Second is about the introduction. How we can introduce? See, the technology in today's world is considered to be one of the most significant factor of any business environment. In the words of the William F. Gluck, the single most important factor that is dramatically affected both the society and the business is the factory system of the production, which is popularly known as the Industrial Revolution. Thus, an important aspect of the technological changes is the development of the science. The revolutionary changes have also brought dynamic changes in the attitude of the people. The technological factors sometimes cause problems. A firm which is unable to cope with the technological advancements may not survive. Further, the difference in the technologies of different areas or the countries may call for the product modification. For example, in India, the electrical appliances require the voltage of 240 volts, whereas in USA, 110 volts are required for those appliances. Similarly, the introduction of the new LEDs, LCDs, and the internet system have badly affected the cinema theaters. Introduction of the TV, refrigerators, and the inbuilt stabilizers have adversely affected the market of the stabilizers. That is why the government, in its resolution of the industrial policy, industrial licensing resolutions, MRTP, and the FARA regulations, and even the liberalization policies, have given more importance to the sophisticated technology and the technology transfer. Foreign investment up to 100% is allowed in the industries with sophisticated technology. Late Prime Minister Shri Rajiv Gandhi's vision of the modern India was of technology-based nation. Similarly, the present Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has also the same vision of the technology-based India or the digital India. The technology imports and the foreign technological collaborations were allowed for this purpose. Philip Kotler, the famous marketing professor, in his recent book says that the new competition, which predicts that as we are moving towards the next century, besides the newly industrialized nation, which the South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and other Asian countries, particularly China, India, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Philippines, will evolve highly competitive approaches to the winning sizable shares of the key globally market. Thus, the trend towards an increasing shares of the world gross national income product orientation in this part of the world is also seen by some observers. Third is the impact of technology on the business. The impact of the technological environment on the business is very fast. It can be understood with the help of the following figures. First is the demand of the traditional capital. Second is the increase in the quality of the product. Third is the rise in the productivity. Fourth is the emphasis on R&D. Next is obsolescence. Next is demand of the skilled labor. Further is the organizational structure, which becomes technostructure. Next is about the quality management. Further is the social change. Then is the change in the business combinations. Further is the expectation of the customers. Next is about the system and the complexity and the rise or decline in the products. So thus, again I'm repeating, the impact of the technology on the business is very fast, and that impact can be measured through following points. First is the demand of the traditional capital. The demand is something, in fact we will be discussing each point in detail. Second is the increase in the quality of the product. The focus of technology for also helps in rise in the productivity. Technology gives more emphasis on the R&D, whereas technology also helps us to find out the obsolescence things in the society or the environment. More better technology help us for the better skilled labor is in the demand who is operating with the technological advantages. Next is about the organizational structure, which becomes more a technostructure based on the use of the technology. Further is about the quality management. The quality is something which is representing which helps to create the brand, which helps to create the image, which helps to even create the entire organization in a growing side. So this quality is very important. Further, it focus on the social change or the societal behavioral change. There is also change in the business combinations when we talk about this part. Further is the expectation of the customers, the system complexity, and the rise and decline in the products which are important over here. So when we discuss each point carefully, the first is the demand of the traditional capital. With the advancement of the technology, there would be a more requirement of the traditional capital and more modernized equipments and which can be purchased for the growth and development of the businesses. Increase in the quality of the product, there is an improvement in the quality of the goods and the services because of the improvement in the technology. Thus, the quality products have increased the standard of the living in the people, and the customers are ready to spend more and more good quality of the products. Third point is the rise in the productivity. The productivity of goods can be increased. With the help of the improved technology, more modernized equipments are purchased for the manufacturing of the quality products. Moreover, new advanced methods for the production and the new techniques are also used in the modern businesses. Capital intensive technology is used to produce the modernized products instead of labor intensive technology. More emphasis on the R&D. The entrepreneurs are now concentrating on in-house research and development and ingenious research and development in the specific areas where India is already ahead and where a quantum jump over developed countries is possible. In these areas, it should be possible for India to export the technology. Reinventing the wheels in other areas is wasteful for both talent and expenditure, especially where India can easily borrow the technology. In all such cases, import of the technological know-how should be resorted to. Further is the obsolescence. In some of the products who have become obsolete with the advancement of the technology, for example, the transistors, scooters, picture tube, television, etc. The mobile phones have replaced the old landline phones, watches, alarm clocks, calculators, etc. Demand of the skilled labor. In today's world, more skilled labor is required to operate the technical gadgets. It has increased the demand of the skilled labor. It has created the employment opportunity in India. There is a golden chance for the young generation of the to become highly skilled through the technology. The organizational structure which becomes techno-structure. Most of the organizational structures have become a techno-structure with the Wi-Fi campuses, computerized systems instead of the manual systems, electronic gadgets, CCTV cameras, system to maintain a check on the labor and the subordinates. Further is about the quality management. It is all more necessary to borrow the state-of-art technology. The talk of appropriate technology is valid only if we are confining ourselves to the indigenous market and work in isolation from the rest of the world. Further is about the social change. A taste, which habits and the preferences of the people change with the passage of the time. We have seen rapid changes in the society over the last few decades. The people have become more techno-spaced, even as mobile phones, laptops, and the internet facilities. The eating habits have also changed. Change in the business combinations. There is a lot of variation in the business combinations. The need for the rapid applications for the modern technology is illustrated by the Japan after World War II. Experience anywhere in Germany and US shows that the long-run technological changes have had the effect of the increasing growth and the prosperity. Further is the expectation of the customers. Customers are considered to be taking in the marketplace. There is concept of customized products in today's era. These products are highly in demand. The expectations of level of the customer has also increased with the advancement of the technology. Next is about the system complexity. The acceptance of the technological progress by the employees and the population as a whole plays an extremely decisive role. India has made it a technology policy statement recently. The organizational systems have become complex and there is a lot of data to handle. Further is the rise or decline in the product. Some of the products are in the introduction stage and some are in the saturation stage. The technology decides the point of saturation of the old products. After observing the impact of the technology on the business, we can say that the management of the companies which are thoughtful, innovation and forward-looking must take cognizance of the effect of such environment on their business enterprises. Next is about the technological policy statements. The highlight of these policy statements are provided as follows. First is to attain the technological self-reliance and the competence and to reduce the vulnerability basically in the strategic and the critical areas, making the maximum use of the indigenous resources. Second is to provide the maximum gainful and satisfying employment to all the strata of the society with the emphasis on women employment and the employment of the weaker sections of the society. Next is to identify the obsolescence of the technology in the unit and making the arrangements for the modernization of the technology and the equipment. Next is to develop the technologies which are internationally competitive and with the main stress on those which are potentials for the exports of the goods and services. Further is to enhance the production speedily through more efficiency and the fuller utilization of the existing capabilities and to increase the quality and the reliability of the performance at the output. Further is to reduce the demand on the energy, particularly the energy from the non-renewable sources, to ensure the harmony with the ecological environment in the country and to preserve the ecological balances in the environment and to enhance the quality of the habitat and to recycle the waste materials and make the full utilization of the byproducts. Thus, the strategies to realize the policy objectives. The policy objectives can be achieved with the help of following strategies. First is to improve the science and technology governance and the investments. Second is to try to build the new India that continues to maintain its strong democratic institutions and the traditions. Third is the maximum utilization of the existing competence and the infrastructure. Fourth is to maintain the international science and the technological cooperation. Further is improving the infrastructure for the science and technology in academic administrative enterprises. Next is creating the awareness among the people about science and technology, finding out funding bodies and mechanisms for basic research. Next is about the management and generation of the intellectual properties. Further is development of the human resources. Further is the management of the natural hazards and the development of the technologies for the mitigation. Further, the development of technology diffusion and its transfer. Further, optimum use of indigenous resources and the traditional knowledge. Next is the enhancing the new ways to increase the motivation, and last is making collaboration between the scientific laboratories. So these points are again being discussed and we will be explaining over here again. The policy objectives of usually first is to improve the science and technology governance and investment. So this point means whatever objectives the organizations are framing or the technological developments are being done, their main first focus is that they should more improve their administrative governance, corporate governance or administration, and their investment should such be that their investment brings better new technologies into the businesses. Second point says for the new India, for the better India, for the digital India, we have to make a very strong democratic institutions and the traditions. That means good, disciplined, governed institutions should be there, either public or private, which are more technical sound and which are more in the organized and the system based control things are there. Third is the maximum utilization of the existing competence and infrastructure. It is a very simple point which represents that all the organizations should be able to optimize their resources which are available to them, either tangible or intangible, whatever assets they have. Those assets should be used such that their maximum competence is being used in the form of the resources available to them. Next is about the maintaining international science and technology cooperation, meaning bringing that the role of due to the impact of the globalization or due to the role of the internationalization. Now it is very simple and easy to connect with beyond the boundaries, country boundaries, and as an individual or the organization, they should be focused on going with the best of the best in the world for the organizational and the societal or the nation's development and growth. Further is improving the infrastructure of the science and technology in the academic and the administrative enterprises. See, academic is something which focuses on or which is something which is seen as the foundation for the next generation. Better the organizations of the nation or the society focus with the technology to the academic environment, more research, more R&D, more projects or the patents or more work is being done in this side, better is the future for the nation. So there should always be focus on improving the infrastructure of the society by improving the things and also bringing better administrative resources. Further is of creating the awareness among the public through the science and technologies. This is something which is very important. Through the science and technology, the individual and the public are always focused to be aware about various benefits, hazards, dangers, or challenges attached with anything. And that is also very important role in the policy objective statements for the technological developments. In this, the next objective represents to find out funding bodies. See, technology is not easy cup of tea. It is not everyone can afford it. Only those who are very serious or those who have the amount to invest in such research in the future technologies can only go ahead. So you need those people who are like-minded. You need those agencies or the organizations or the governments, and the vision and the mission of them, either the individual society or government, is always there to bring the better future for the better future, and it is only possible if they are focusing more on the research. Next is, as I mentioned, is the role of the IP, intellectual property. So intellectual property represents the management and the generation of the IP is very important, which is very carefully been managed out. Further is the development of the human resources. The development of the human resources represents the important things. There are two things. First is cost of the organization, which with the cost of the organization in training those part. But second is the benefit once the trained employees give to the organization. So development of the human resource represents training of the organization team for the better technology, for the better things, and many more things. Next is the management of the natural hazards and the development of the technologies for the mitigation. The management of the natural hazards represents management of things, management of setups, which represents either risk, cybercrime risk, or data piracy risks, or there may be any cyber attacks or anything, or any other challenges which are being seen in the technological advancements. All those hazards, all those challenges, and all those things needs to be carefully handled, and so also their development while transfer of the technologies for mitigation. Further is the technology development of the technology diffusion and its transfer. They should always be focused on developing the new things, development of new ideas, conceptualization of the new ideas, and it is only possible when we are developing those ideas into the reality with the help of technology. But once those ideas are being developed, it is also very important to implement and further to commercialize or to transfer it for the common society or the public. So these things are very important. Next is the optimum use of the indigenous resources and the traditional knowledge. The policy which are drafted by the organization should be such that there is a maximum and the utmost utilization of all the resources that are in the organization. These resources can be man, money, machine. It can even be the technology. It can even be any other tangible or intangible assets. These all resources should be optimally utilized, and there should be always and always focus on utilizing the things very carefully and knowledgefully. Next is enhancing the new ways to increase the motivation. And lastly, making collaboration between the scientific laboratories and the industries. So, moving ahead to the next topic, that is science and technology. It is always useful to place the two words science and technology in the proper perspective. It may be noted that the word science is considered as a systemized body of the knowledge, and when this knowledge is put into the practice, it becomes technology. The science and technology term have dissimilarities and dissimilarities. With regard of the similarity, it may be stated that two are the interdependent. With the advancement in the science which helps to develop the new technologies, while at the same time the need for the new technologies and the products provide the drive for the new scientific discoveries. Technology is the most dramatic force shaping the destiny of the people all over the world. Some of the technological inventions is the man fields are the wonders, and some others are the horrors, and yet another have mixed blessings. Automobile and the television, for example, have evoked mixed emotions. Hydrogen bomb and the gun have provided to be the horrors. Penicillin gives the open heart surgery and the birth control pills are wonders. Whenever one is enthralled or appalled by the technological invention, it depends upon one attitude towards it. Therefore, as said, every coin has two sides over it. Next is the feature of the technology. Before discussing the factor affecting the technological advancement, we will discuss the silent characteristics of the technology. First is the technology which relates to its change. The first feature of the technology is in the change, and then the more changes with the passage of the time that the technology stress change or the people with whether they are ready for it or not. In the present era, it has brought so much change that it creates whatever is called as the future shock, which means that the change in the technology comes so far that it reaches the limit of the human tolerance or the people loses their ability to cope up with their successfully. Second is the effect of the technology which are widespread. Some other aspects which include of the technology is widespread, reaching far beyond the immediate point of the technological impact. Basically, the technology runs through the society until every community is affected by it, and as the people cannot escape through it. Now, the technology which feed itself, technology is self-reinforcing. This principle implies that the technology acts as a multiplier to encourage its own faster development. This act has been other part of the society so that the intervention in one place leads to the sequence of the intervention in the other places. Next is about the factors which affect the technological environment. There are various factors which are affecting the technology and are discussed in detail with the help of the following figures. First is the social factor. The social factor discuss about the changes due to the social, that is social changes, the system complexities, the huge demand of the customers, the technology which reaches the people through the businesses and the social systems. Second is about the economic factor, the research and development. It discusses about the research and development and discusses about the increased productivity, then about the boundaries redefined, it discusses about the jobs which become intellectual, it discusses the problems of the technostructures. Next about the demand of the capital, products and the organization, the government regulations, and the bio-professional or the multi-professional managers. Lastly, about the organizational factors, as we consider about various factors of the organizational part, it includes the risk factor associated with the organization. It discusses about the e-commerce and the e-business approaches of the organization. It discusses about the organizational structure, which is planned by the organization. Next, about the resistance of change in the organization, which is seen in the way they are handled. Next, we discuss about the ways in which the total quality management is done in the organization. And lastly, by establishing the flexible manufacturing system should be in focus for the organizations. So these are the which factors which affect the technological environment. Now, individually, we study each factor, the social factors. In the social factors, the maximum, the highest effect of the technology is on the society. Basically, every area of the social life is changed by the development in the technology. Thus, the social factors that affect the technology are discussed as under. First is the social changes. There is a change in the social life which results from the change in the technological process. Therefore, an intervention or invention may destroy the economic basis of the city, retrench thousands of the workmen. Yet, the same invention can result in the creation of the new city somewhere else and creates even more employment opportunities than it is initially destroyed. Thus, the technological changes of this type creates a continuous and a stable turmoil in the society. Thereby, we cook, food, wash clothes, communicate, and the people and the methods of doing the work are affected by the change in the technology. Second is about the system complexity. Change in the technology has also resulted in the increase in the complexity. Modern machines are equipments which may work better and faster than the manual labor. But if they have some disorder, then they require services of some experts persons to repair them. Sometimes the machines fail because of their complexity. Moreover, all the systems may be either interdependent. For example, they have a full set machine, computer, internet, fax machine, but the failure of the power can overrule the whole system. High demand of the customers. In the present era, the youngsters demand more and more of the things that are of same things. New variety of the products and services, improved quality of the goods, eco-friendly and the organic things which are free from the pollution are required to be manufactured and supplied to the people. Japanese technology is considered to be the best in fulfilling the high expectation of the customers regarding the product design, price of the goods, technical sophistication and the proper delivery. Next is the technology, which the technology reaches people through the business. The new inventions and discoveries create ideas in the mind of the people which lead to the change of the technology. The economic prosperity of the country depends on the technology. More than 50% of its economic growth of the developed countries like Germany, Japan, UK, US, and France have come from the technical progress which gained by them. Even the developing countries have taken the message that the technological innovations mean very little to them unless they have competent businesses units to manufacture for the public than what science have discovered. Next is about the social system. Technology creates a different kind of social system, namely the knowledge society. Transfer and use of the information and the knowledge instead of manual skills which dominates and works and employ a large portion of the work in the knowledge society. Moreover, the relationship between the organization and the knowledge workers will be strange and amorphous, redefining itself all the time. The technology has different levels and different and leaves the distinct influence on work and on the social system. Next is about the economic factors. There are some economic factors which are related with the money and finances and other which are influencing technology. It is basically a dual effect which affects the economy of the country and the economic power of the nation also as an effect of the technology. The points are discussed as below. First is the R&D. There is need to spend more on the research and the development activities. R&D assumes importance in the enterprises as the technology advances. Enterprises should allocate the resources to R&D. A company's R&D intensity is the principal means by increasing the market share in the international competition. Moreover, consistency in the resources allocation of the R&D across the line of the business enhances the organizational efficiency by enabling the enterprises to better develop synergize among product lines and the business units. Further, the technology transfer should also be made, which is process of taking the new technology from the laboratory of the marketplace is equally important. Next is about the increased productivity. The highest influential impact of the technology is increased productivity in terms of both quality and quantity. That is why the technology at all the levels is adopted. In the service industry, the business may be qualitative because of the main stress is on satisfying the customers through the giving improved services. But in manufacturing industry, the objective may be the qualitative in terms of more production at less cost. Economies of scale can also be achieved through the bulk production. Next is about the boundaries, how the boundaries are redefined. The technological changes is a patent force for redefining the industrial boundaries, which may be broadened or narrowed as per the requirement. For example, with the advancement of the information technology, the old conception of the financial services industry is obsolete. The banks, insurance companies, brokerage firms, and force them to be interconnected or give them financial services. Thus, the technological changes have been an important impact of prevailing the business's definitions of the individual companies. It is one of the significant factors which gives rise to the product substitution and product differentiation. Next is about the jobs. The jobs become more intellectual. People have become more intellectual and upgraded with the improvement in the technology. A work which was previously handled by illiterate or unskilled workers now requires the services of the educated and the competent experts person. For example, a clerical post in the administrative office now requires an expert person in the computer who was good in knowledge of typing in the different languages. Similarly, the technology also dislocates some employees unless they have proper training and knowledge about the equipment and the new machines. Next is about the technology. The technology has its impact in the human relations also. The problem of the technostructure, because of the improvement in the technology, the structure has also become complex and emphasized on the experts to become highly knowledgeable and professional. A business organization has also adopted the latest technology and is flooded with the engineers, scientists, college graduates, IT graduates, highly skilled employees, and its payroll. It has also increased the professional competence among the employees. The motivation of such employees is very difficult. Hike in the salary packages is also being given to retain the skilled employees. However, they will switch over to other companies. Next is about the demand for the capital. The technology demands for the huge capital on procurement or inventing the new ideas and their adoptions. The training, educating, and maintaining the managers, it requires proper, well-settled infrastructures, servers, rooms, laboratories, and the highly techno gadgets. All these can be purchased with the massive funds. It is a long-term investment and which will give fruits for the number of the years. But upgradation of the technology is must from time to time with the passage of time. Next is about the products and organization. We have seen that there is change in the habits and the taste of the customers with the passage of time, and the new products becomes obsolete and out of dated very soon. A new technology may develop a new industry but can run during the old one. For example, nobody uses transistors and radios in the present era. We are living in the robotic environment and everything can be done in the pressing a button on its remote. In the mobile phone industry, the old model phones outdated with 6 months only because of the introduction of the new phones in the same segment. Further is the government and the regulation. The government has power to ban or investigate the goods and services which are harmful to the society or which hurt the sentiments of the particular segments of the society. Next is about the import of the animals, which has been banned by the Indian government, keeping in mind of the feeling of the Hindu community. Some people are more eco-friendly and some oppose the construction of the highly buildings, oppose of the industries which are harmful for the environment and the location of the factory. Government from time to time make amendments in the science and technology of the policy of the India, keeping in mind the feelings of the people and the ecological environment. Next is about the organizational factor. The technology has a significant impact in the organization, the structure, span of the control, and the length of the line of the commands and of the chief executives and top line managers. These factors are explained as under. First is the risk factor. The technology always creates the fear of risk. The existing and the outdated companies cannot survive the competitive environment. For example, the handloom industries and other adversely affected with the power looms and the modern businesses. The big fish will be eaten by the small one. The small, similarly, the big business organizations and the improved technology has vanished the small scale enterprises. Next is about the e-commerce and the industries. In the present era, the technology has given birth to the internet and the World Wide Web, which has made the electronic commerce possible. The e-businesses have contributed to the growing number of the transactions within the country and across the country. More people can purchase the product while sitting at the home and from every part of the world. Money can also be transferred from one account to another account just by the click of the button. Banks and the financial institutions make online transactions of the money. Next is about the organization structure. Different kind of structures is used in the business organization by the managers, where companies use technology. With the vast changing matrices, structures are also very common. Thus, the small batch technology structures, production technology structures, and the continuous process technology structures are used in different types of organizations. Further is the resistance to the change. It is a human nature, people resistance for the changing. A typical businessman himself is opposed to the new technology. The reasons are not totally psychological but practical also, because adopting a new technology is expensive and risky. An entrepreneur needs not to worry if he has sufficient money to buy the new technology, but it is the shortage of the funds. Then he cannot cope up with the change. Further is the TQM. The TQM represents the total quality management, which means providing the products and services at a very good quality of the organization to the public. It may increase the cost of the production of the enterprise, but it will further increase the dissatisfaction or the satisfaction of the customers, and also they will demand more good quality products, which may result into the improved sales. Thus, the quality can be improved by the periodical inspections, and it is the job of the quality control person. TQM may be adopted by almost all the business enterprises. Next is manufacturing system. It is considered as one of the another by the product of the technology. Different kinds of machines are designed to produce various varieties of the product. For example, we can take printout of so many papers by the single command. Under this manufacturing systems, highly skilled and the trained employees are required, and there is a job rotation for increasing the overall efficiency of the employees. Thus, in order to summarize, technology is a costly, uncertain, and a high-risk activity. Import of the technology is also not easy because developed countries are not interested in lending it out. Actually, these countries seek India as an opportunity for the investment. In this module, we have discussed the meaning of technology and its feature and the differences between the science and technology. This means of the technological environment is described. Moreover, the impact of the technology on the business environment and the factors affecting the businesses are discussed in detail. India has been entered a modern era in the state of the economic backwardness and the poverty of the large section of its people. It is obvious that the technology must attend to the basic problems of the food, clothing, health, housing of the people living in the country. For this purpose, the government has made a science and technology policy for maintaining a suitable technological environment. So this is all about the technological environment, and this is what we have discussed and studied over here. So this said your faculty guide and coach for the subject business environment on the topic technological environment. I hope you have understood this concept easily and clearly. For any doubt, queries or any other thing, you can connect back to us on the ID vivekb.management@tmu.ac.in. Thank you. Take care. See you again in the next class.